How's it going, everybody? David Hedge here, House Hedge Gaming, and today we're hitting the high seas looking for the Grand Line and try to find the One Piece. We're going to be taking a look at One Piece Adventure Island, a game made by Toei, which is being distributed by Japanime games here in the US, and it's a game set in the One Piece universe. And so, what I'm going to do today, I know a bit about the gameplay. Usually on the unboxing videos, I go in here completely blind, not knowing what the gameplay is all about. But in this case, I have a little bit of research that I've done. So I'll go over some of the gameplay, what you can expect from the basics of the game, but there's a whole lot more to explore on your own when you're in search for the One Piece treasure. So without any further ado, let's hit the table, unbox this game, and see what's inside. All right, let's take a look at One Piece Adventure Island, where you get to conquer the islands. Now again, this is by Toei with help with Japanime games to get this game distributed, and Toei Animation. So let's open it up and see what's inside. And yes, before you say anything, I did take the plastic wrapping off because I didn't want to lose again on camera. So there we go. All right, so first off, we have the rule book. Now this, or actually a rule sheet, sorry. This is the quick rules for Battle Cruise mode. So it's basically two different modes that you can get in the game. You either go against each other or you become crew of the Straw Hat Gang, the Straw Hat crew. So this gives you the setup and everything for that. We have the rule book, which it's a decent size one, but in here you got the beautiful illustrations of all the different characters, how to set up the board, and everything you will need to get ready for your adventure. We have the, sorry for the rocking here, we have victory points. Now, in the game, you'll be going against different pirates, trying to accomplish missions and everything, and these are the victory points that you will score in the game, so this is a good way to keep track of it. We also have your health, your energy. This is to help keep track of all that, because unlike most card games, damage doesn't go away at the end. You got to figure out a way to heal up. We then have the different flags for all of the crews. So we have everything from the Straw Hats to many others, which we'll get into once we get there. And then we have marine counters on here, and we have some of the ships that you will be able to navigate throughout the high seas. And then here we have the rest of the ships here. Now these are the marines that you're going to have to deal with. We have the different other ships that you can have. We have the treasures. These will be on the islands where you can discover them, and these are worth points at the end of the game, depending on what treasure you are able to find. Now let us unfold this board and show you what this Spamma Jamma looks like. Okay, here we have the game board. Now this game board is really insane. This thing is really nice. Like, you have all the different towns that you'll be able to visit, and the villages and the kingdoms and everything, while exploring the seas. But you might be wondering how you're going to be able to do that. Well, during the game, you will roll a d6 and you will roll this coordinate die. So you have your coordinates A through F, 1 through 6. So you'll be able to position your ships where you want to go. So let's say, for example, we're going to pop out here. I'm going to pop out this ship. Say we're right here. You're then going to roll the die. So we need to go to C5. So in this case, you're going to be moving over 1. But there is a way that where you land, you can choose to go one direction, north, south, east, or west, to be able to get to another place. So you're not stuck in the middle of the ocean. Like, what's the fun in that? So being able to have that little bit of leeway is definitely not a bad thing at all when you're moving around trying to find the treasures that are all along these islands. Now, we have all sorts of different cards we're going to be opening up here. We're first going to go with the crews, which there's 2 huge stacks of them. So we're going to go over some of these and show you who will be joining your ship on your adventure. Now, of course, in this review, I was definitely going to show off the Straw Hat crew. Now, you have different crew members here, including the Captain Monkey D. Luffy. You got Frankie, Nico, Robin, Nami, Sanji, Tony Chopper. You got Brook, Sniper King, Usopp, and Roronoa Zoro. And if I just butchered that name, Hani, I do apologize. Anyway, so each one, you have your attacks, you have your defense, and you have your basically your energy, your life in the game. Now, when you do attacks, you'll be rolling d6s, and depending on abilities, it'll tell you what you get to hit with and how much you're going to be doing. But there's also different things like if you roll certain numbers or anything like that, you'll be able to get some bonuses as well. Now, you also have victory points that are associated with the characters. Now, these victory points is what your opponent would score if they take you out. The bigger your notoriety and all, the more points you're going to be worth when you get taken down. Sorry, Usopp, you're still a 2. But there's a wide range of characters and abilities to get to choose from in the game, and it allows you so much variety of what each and every one of these crew members will be able to do on your journeys. Now, some characters will have transformations, will be able to have bigger and better versions of themselves throughout the game. So, for example, Monkey D. Luffy, you will definitely be getting a souped up version for him. For Chopper, you'll be getting, well, you get Big Boy Chopper, and the different variations that Chopper has that can help you along the way. And yes, before you ask, Usopp and Sniper King may be the same person, may not. This may be a Chad Gable El Grande Americano situation. Stay tuned for more news. Now, I can't go over the entire pirate list because, let's face it, there's a lot of pirates and a lot of different crews, but the ones that you'll be able to choose from, you have Whitebeard and his pirates, you have Big Mama's pirates, you have Vinsmoke Judge and the Germa 66, you have Dracula Mihawk and the Seven Warlords of the Sea, you have Don Quixote de Flamingo from the family, you have Kaido from the Animal Kingdom Pirates, you have Blackbeard from Blackbeard's Pirates, Rob Lucci and the CP9, you have Monkey D. Garp from the Marines, and a few more, which will be coming up right now. Now, for the rest of the crews, you have Estes Kid and the Supernovas, Oars and the Thriller Park Pirates, you have Crocodile and the Baroque Works, and Monkey D. Dragon and the Revolutionary Army. Now, in your adventures throughout exploring the ocean, you will be encountering different inhabitants of these islands. So, for example, Boa Hancock, you will see them on Amazon Lily. For Arlong, of course, you will see them at Arlong Park. Dracula Mihawk, you will be seeing them at Barati. Sabo, you will be seeing at Corrida Coliseum and various other places that you will be exploring. Who knows what habitants you'll be encountering while you're on your journeys. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that during the game you will have powerful attacks and defenses, and you will even have to contend with some weaknesses as well. The weakness of characters will be posted here on the bottom of the card to show you exactly what they're affected by, but also there's powerful attacks and defenses that I mentioned before that can definitely swing the tide of battle. Now, no matter which crew you choose, you do need to keep in mind that you can use attacks, defense, and weakness cards, but your Haki, which is symbols up here, will allow you certain abilities when you draw these cards to be able to play more powerful attacks and defense cards and even weaknesses against your opponents. So, for example, with this one, they have the arms Haki, which is basically your attacks, the observation Haki, which is the basically your counter magic, your defensive abilities, and then the Supreme King Haki. This allows you to have some very powerful combos within these decks. So, for example, if I had this attack, Color of the Supreme King Mastery. Now, this one you play before you roll your dice, so it even tells you the timing on when you can play these cards. You must check to see if the character you're wanting to play this will be able to use it by matching the Haki symbol up here. So, for example, with Charlotte, you're definitely able to do it. Now, there are some cards that will not have that symbol. So, for example, Blackbeard's Thievery. Try saying that 5 times fast. It has no marking, so you're able to use that with any character, no matter who it is. Yes, even Usopp can use Blackbeard's Thievery. Now, the defense cards, the exact same way, must make sure If it has the Haki symbol, you must make sure that the character you're using it for has that symbol. Now, as far as weaknesses go, a lot of them will have no symbol. But be careful because there are a lot of different weaknesses. So, for example, for vanity, let's go with that one, or fear, there are different versions of fear because nobody is afraid of the exact same thing. I mean, yes, they are, but don't at me on that one. There's different forms of treasure that you are able to find as your weakness. There are so many different ways to be affected by vanity. These will definitely hinder your opponents. They'll also hinder you because you're not going to be the only one to be exploiting weaknesses out here on the high seas. Now, the last thing you get in the box is the player boards. Now, you get one for each crew that is available for you to play. So, whether if you're Whitebeard's Pirates, the Straw Hat crew, or even the Marines, everybody gets a board. Now, this will keep track of how much damage your ship can take because, face it, we're going to be attacking each other in the ships, not just on land. You have a treasure hoard that you can keep on the ship, and a list of the abilities that you're able to do while you're on the ship to be able to help either dodge cannonballs, be able to give a direction die choice, to be able to roll that one again, or if you are in the same island as another ship, the other ship receives 2 cannonballs and suffers 2 damage. So, yes, each ship is going to be a little bit different. Each one will be able to inflict a lot of damage, but also be able to dodge a bit more. And each ship has its own different health. So be ready for whatever cannonball is aimed your way because you're going to have to dodge them or you're going to have to return fire in a big way. But that is everything you get within the game One Piece Island Adventure. That's just some of the gameplay I went over for the characters and for the different cards, but the rest of it is up to you to decide and you to explore while you're hitting the high seas here on One Piece Adventure Island from Toei and Japanime Games. Well, there you have it. That is One Piece Adventure Island by Toei and Japanime Games. Now, as you can see, this is about as steeped in One Piece lore as you can possibly get. The game board, I love it where you have all the different islands you're going to be able to traverse to and do battles on, be able to find treasures, be able to captain one of 12 different crews. You have so many different characters that are within this One Piece universe. And as far as being able to play either story mode or a competitive game where you're fighting against each other, I really love it that there's both of those modes that are available in the game. Like I said, the variety of the crews that you're able to play is fantastic. I love that you have to try to avoid the Marines, and the artwork is amazing. The one thing that I've heard from a lot of people, I have to agree on, was looking at the rule book. There is some lost in translation where it was translated from the original game, which I believe was in France when it was first released. Now it's over here in the US. There was some sort of translation that was messed up to where you get like literal word for word. And sometimes you can't exactly do that for games when it comes from different translating from one language to another. But you know what? It happens to a lot of games. And it's going to keep happening until now, until the end of time. And that is perfectly fine. I understand it. That's the reason why I did some research from various different YouTube personalities and content creators and everything, and the website itself. Because, as always, as the legendary wrestling manager Jim Cornette says, if you take from one, it's stealing, but if you take from a lot, it's research. Now, the other thing to look at was the characters and the crews. A lot of people have been saying that the crews are off balanced. And well, yes, you're going to have the Straw Hat crew be probably the better of the crews for the simple fact that they're the main characters in there. You're going to be going through story mode with those characters. But on any given day, any crew can be beat by another crew. And that's the same as true for any board games, any card games where you have all these different levels of cards, and some cards are more powerful than others, or some characters are more powerful than others. But in the long run, it's not just the characters and the cards that you have. It's the playability, it's your playability. It's your mindset. There's so many different aspects of gaming that I always have loved because no matter what, it doesn't matter what cards you have. Like for trading card games, for example, it doesn't matter how much money you have to put into a deck. The bottom line is going to be your playability of the deck. You can have somebody that buys a top tier standard deck that's ready to go, wins multiple tournaments, all that, while you have a homebrew deck that you've been working on for a long time. And you go into a tournament and you go against that top standard deck, and even though they have bought the deck, they may know how to play it, you know how to play your deck. So it's one of those things where it doesn't matter if it's a top tier or bottom tier or mid tier, whatever. Any deck can beat any deck. Any character can be just as good as any character, no matter what the game is, all because of who's playing the character, their mindset going into the game. And that's the one thing that I really try to tell people, because a lot of times when you go into tournaments for games, you start getting into your own head. Like, prime example of this. I know I'm getting a little off track, but you know what? You're getting a little bit more than just the basic unboxing video. So there was a pre-release my wife and I went into. We were going into Two-Headed Giant for I forget which pre-release it was, but we were going against two top Pro Tour level players in the realm of Magic the Gathering. And my wife looked at me and she was like, "Well, that's it. We're done." I'm like, "No, we're not. Anybody can be beaten on any given day. Let's do this." And yes, it was Two-Headed Giant. And some people go, "Well, Two-Headed Giant's a different thing from Constructed," and you're absolutely right, but it doesn't take away from the players that are in the game. It doesn't take away from their playability. It doesn't take away from what they have to offer in the game. And my wife and I won. And she looked at me and she was like, "How'd you know we were going to do something?" I was like, "You don't go in defeated. You never go in defeated. You always go in to have fun first and foremost. And you give it your best and you do the best you can with whatever hand you're dealt with. And in One Piece, you're going to do the best you can with whatever crew you have and what defense cards and attack cards and weaknesses you have to deal with, all while trying to find the One Piece and explore the Grand Line." And that's the reason why I really like this game, is that it does set you very well in the One Piece universe. And hopefully you add it to your collection and you get to do some high sea adventures yourself. But just beware, because that Grand Line is definitely one of the most dangerous things that you'll ever have to face, because you're not just the only one looking for the One Piece. There's a lot of crews out there, and the Marines will always be looking for you. But thank you so much for checking out this video. If you like it, please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and let everyone know that House Hedge Gaming is here for all of your gaming needs. Until next time, everyone, stay safe and take care, my friends.